So, one thing that has become extremely apparent to me over the past 10 or 12 years, as I've been doing a lot of this attachment based work, is that there is a lot of lacking when it comes to what a secure relationship looks like and the modeling that people are yearning for and trying to understand in their everyday lives. And so, in this video, what we are going to cover is some of the strengths of the securely attached style. And we will talk a little bit about essentially what this looks like when it comes to how these strengths play into their relationships, play into their workplace dynamics, and really play into many different areas of their lives. So, first and foremost, one of the biggest strengths is that securely attached styles tend to be emotionally regulated. And the way I like to think of this, and as somebody who was a fearful avoidant attachment style for a very long time, I can sort of attest to, on one side of the continuum, when I was fearful avoidant, so much of the real estate in my mind each day was taken up by core wounds and triggers, being frustrated with somebody from the past or concerned about something that I thought was going to happen in the future that I was anxious about or stressed about. And a lot of what it meant to be in relationships was triggering. So, I would get triggered in friendships quite a bit less, but I would get triggered fairly frequently in romantic relationships. So if I was dating somebody, those triggers would be online, especially as the relationship progressed and got to things like the power struggle stage of relationships. So much of my thought and just, energy emotionally was going into either fearing being triggered, or recovering from being triggered. And when we look at what it means to be securely attached, as you wipe out a lot of those different core wounds, what ends up taking place is you have all of this like mental, emotional energy back to focus on like creating things and going after your dreams and having fun with people that you love and enjoying those things. And so, emotional regulation is a great strength. And I also think it really speaks to how much our attachment style can affect us, when it comes to success or our goals or our dreams that we want to accomplish. We have such a smaller amount of like energy to put into that when we have a lot of triggering going on a regular basis. The second great thing that securely attached individuals tend to be really strong at is sharing their boundaries. And, I know when I was a fearful avoidant attachment style, for example, I used to think I was good at setting boundaries until I realized that setting boundaries exclusively from anger doesn't make me a good boundary setter. So I used to not be bound, I used to be like boundaryless and not have boundaries. And then I would hold them in, and eventually get angry because I had violated my own boundaries by essentially not communicating to other people about them and sort of expecting that people in my life would mind read. And then on the flip side of that, I started doing a lot of boundary work and practicing that. It was actually one of the hardest things for me to feel more strong at. Like it was a really tricky one for me. And eventually I got good at setting boundaries in real time, knowing my yeses and nos in real time and just saying, hey, that's not a fit for me, or that's not something I'm looking, to do, instead of doing something I didn't feel comfortable with and then getting angry about it later and then setting a boundary almost like retroactively when it was too late. And that would also kind of wreak havoc in different types of relationships. So getting good at setting those boundaries and asserting yourself in real time goes a very long way. Another thing securely attached individuals tend to be very good at is they're very clear on their needs generally, at sort of a very early part of their relationship dynamic. So they're good at early on being able to say, this is a need for me, or hey, this is what I'm looking for. And if something doesn't line up for them, they often give themselves permission to leave, right? So we'll see a securely attached person know what they're looking for in relationships. And, they'll take the time to try to work through things that could be potential challenges. But if they see that somebody's not willing to budge and work through things with them, and also that, their needs are just not being met by somebody, they're going to give themselves permission because they're going, okay, well, I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want. And that clarity and that awareness of their needs is very, very valuable. And this applies to like romantic relationships, friendships, workplace relationships, what somebody's choosing for a career overall. Like they tend to be much clearer there. The next big one is we will generally see that securely attached individuals are very good communicators. Communication is key. They will resolve problems and try to hash things out more immediately. They won't let things fester for a long time, and they generally feel quite safe and comfortable communicating overall. And another really powerful component of secure attachment is they will be able to empathize with somebody else's perspective, even if it's different than their own. So, because of having less core wounds, they're less likely to personalize other people's behaviors. So, they won't essentially take them to heart the same way. If somebody has a different, viewpoint or perspective than they do, they'll be able to say, I can disagree with that, but I can also understand where you're coming from. And I can honor that you're allowed to have your own opinion and viewpoint. And that allows them to, sort of portray respect to other people who are different from them, but also not necessarily leave what viewpoints are important to them or what they find to be really intrinsically valuable. Another powerful part of securely attached styles is that they can put themselves in a position where they can trust, right? They will understand that trust is something that is both given but also earned, right? And the way I like to think of trust in this way is that we sort of have layers to trust. Like, I can trust that, people that I meet at work, for example, generally have, a really trustworthy sort of perspective and good intentions, and there's a sort of a line, right, between something like that and that sort of this like stable trust baseline versus a situation, for example, where, I may not see a stranger on the street at night and trust them with my bank information, right? I may not go to a stranger who's, up walking around doing stuff that I run into at night and go, oh, here's all my bank cards. I trust you to hold on to them, right? So we have this level of trust that is our baseline, but then we also have trust that we should earn, right? That we should have discussions around, we should be vetting people for those more intimate parts of our lives. And, there's sort of a balance there between those two parts. And that tends to be something that securely attached people can um, feel quite comfortable within, right? Knowing that they can do that. And another big thing is we'll see sort of our last two here is that securely attached individuals feel worthy of having their needs met, their feelings heard. So they tend to speak up for themselves quite comfortably. And they tend to be very trustworthy, right? They tend to have this stability, this consistency. People can rely on them. They feel safe in interdependency. And so those tend to be other really important components. Now, if you are insecurely attached and you're listening to this and you're wondering, well, how do I really work through some of these different challenges? I will put a link down below to all the different attachment style courses that you can take to become securely attached. So if you're anxious, preoccupied, it outlines the major focus points to become securely attached. If you're fearful, avoidant, dismissive, avoidant, all those are there. So I just wanted to stop by here and let you know a really exciting announcement, and is that we are doing $1,000 off of our lifetime memberships to the Personal Development School for Life. So I will tell you what's actually included in there. Number one, you get access to all of our different 60 plus courses. Everything about every single attachment style, how to reprogram, how to heal. We have courses in there about the 6 stages of relationships and how to navigate each stage. We have courses in there about how to get back together or heal relationships between different attachment styles and all of the steps for reconnecting. And we have all sorts of other courses on boundaries, conflict communication, setting and achieving goals at the subconscious level, seeing how attachment styles even show up in your workplace and how to navigate some of those different dynamics and heal those aspects of your attachment style. There's so many courses in there, but number two feature that we have, daily social support groups. So these are small groups that are all included in the lifetime membership. And we do daily events, sometimes even twice a day, where there will be, 10 people or so led by a trained counselor, coach, or facilitator. And you can actually join in there and practice some of the different tools with other members. It's a great place to build relationships, connect with like-minded people, and to really fast track your learning and have that extra support all the time. And number three, we have daily webinars Monday through Saturday. I do 3 of those webinars every single week. That's a time to come in, ask me your questions. You can come in on camera and we can chat. You can come in off camera and just post them in the chat, whatever you're most comfortable doing. And we have other amazing counselors, coaches, facilitators who also lead other webinars. And again, those are slightly larger groups of people, but it's a great opportunity to connect with like-minded learners who also care about the same things: emotional connection, relationships, and personal growth. So I hope you check it out. We also have all these different discussion forums in there. We have a Facebook group so you can connect with each other there as well. And there's a tremendous amount of community support in an ongoing way at PDS. So I would love to see you on the other side. I hope you join me. And now we'll go back to the video. If you have other questions about this topic, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know other videos you want to see. If you want to see more secure attachment content, please hit the thumbs up button. And I hope you consider subscribing to this channel. I would love to have you here as a part of the community. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.